Hi guys, welcome back to yet another session on strategic management. We were revising strategic management, that is paper number 7 part B. Up to this point we have revised chapter number 1 thoroughly. So let's continue further. Let's try to revise chapter number 3, that is strategic management process. Whenever you are revising, follow this order. Do chapter number 1 first, thereafter do chapter number 3, and after that you do chapter number 2. Okay, so let's start with chapter number 3. In this chapter we'll be studying what do you mean by planning, what are the different types of planning, what do you mean by decision making, what are the different types of decision making. We will also be revising strategic intent, what are the elements of strategic intent. We will also be revising strategic management model, and thereafter 3 important points: the elements of strategic intent, vision, mission, goals and objectives in detail. So let's start our discussion. Before we do planning, before we do decision making, let's try to understand what do you mean by strategic intent. Because if we study strategic intent, we'll be able to do 3 elements of strategic intent along with that. So let's start. I'll draw one diagram for you. Strategic intent means the purpose of the organization, why they want to do this. So if you know your why, you'll be able to form your vision. If you know your vision, you'll be able to form your mission. Once you know your intent, once you know your vision, once you know your mission, you'll be able to define your business in that way. So business definition. Then depending on that, you will follow what sort of business model we want to go for. Whether we want to cater to large number of customers by charging low prices, or we want to cater to specific distinguished customers by charging high quality, by giving them high quality and charging high prices. So business model is all about that. And the last part we have is goals and objectives. So if I can draw for you, strategic intent acts as a philosophical base. Just above this we have vision, then we'll have mission, we'll have business definition, business model, goals and objectives. So this is the diagram. If I can say this is strategic intent. From strategic intent we will get our vision. From our vision we will get our mission. Then we will have our business definition. Then we will have our business model. Thereafter we will have something called as goals and objectives. This vision and mission is framed by whom? Corporate level managers or top level managers, senior management. This business definition and business model is given by business level managers. And the task of achieving all the goals and objectives is the responsibility of functional level managers. So, what do you mean by strategic intent? Strategic intent means the purpose for which the organization is formed. What is the real reason as to why we are doing this business? What is the purpose? Why? Once we know why we are doing this, we will set our vision. 20 years from now, I want to be the most preferred business in that particular industry. So if you are into automobile business, I want to be the most preferred car manufacturing company by 2040, by 2050. So you will have to define your vision. What is vision? Vision is a blueprint of your future, where you want to reach, where you want to land. It is organization's aspiration. What is it? It is organization's aspiration, where we want to land, where do I see myself 20 years from now, to be the most preferred car manufacturing company in India. So just because you are having this dream of becoming the most preferred car manufacturing company, do you think will you be able to achieve that dream without acting towards it, without working towards it? No, you'll have to do something at present. So once we have decided what we want to do in future, we need to work towards it. So working towards it in present, what is my present capability? What of technology I am using today? That is mission. So once I know about my future, that is vision, I should think about the present. What am I doing currently? Who we are, what we do, what we are doing currently, so that we can achieve our dream of future. Once we know our vision, once we know our mission, then we will define our business. What do you mean by business definition? What products we make, what markets we serve, what technologies we use, what processes we follow, what functions we perform. Those are called as business definition. So, if I want to talk about business definition, do I want to cater to Indian market or I want to cater to global market? Do I want to make only one single product or multiple products? Will I be doing production through automation using machines or I'll be using labor intensive force? So I'll have to take all these decisions. So I'm defining my business. What sort of products, what markets, what functions to perform, what processes to be followed. All this comes under business definition. Business definition is done by business level managers because they are expert in that particular business. After I have defined my business, I will try to find out what sort of model I want to follow. Do I want to follow cost leadership or I want to follow differentiation? Should I give unique product to the customers and charge a premium price, or should I charge low price and cater to many customers? What will be my cost? What will be my revenue? What sort of profits I'll be making? So business model talks about the numbers, whether this business will be profitable, whether we'll be able to recover enough profits. So that sort of things talks about in business model. And the last step we have is goals and objectives. What do you mean by goals? What do you mean by objectives? Goals and objectives are measurement tools. Goals are the end result, what the company wishes to achieve. We want to increase our revenue. We want to decrease our cost. We want to increase our profits. Objectives are specific time-based, time-measurable targets. In this quarter, we want to increase our revenue by 5%. In this month, we want to reduce our cost by 2%. In this year, we want our revenues to increase by 20%. So, these are specified time-based measurable targets. So, goals and objectives are done by functional level managers. Out of all this, strategic intent will form a philosophical base. Above that, we'll have vision. On the basis of vision, we'll have mission. On the basis of vision and mission, we'll have our business definition, we'll have our business model. And then finally, we will have our goals and objectives. Out of all this, business model, business definition, vision, mission, intent, all are philosophies. The actual basis of measurement is our goals and objectives. How much targets we have achieved. Whether we were able to achieve our performance target or not. That is something which is given by goals and objectives. So let's try to read this, guys. So let's talk about strategic intent. See, strategic intent. The intention with an organization plans the future course of action. This intention is known as strategic intent. Strategic intent is the base of all activities. It is the base of all activities. Every manager at all levels is doing to achieve the organizational goals. Senior managers must define what they want to do and why they want to do. This why they want to do underlies the result, end result that the organization is going to achieve through what they want to do. The end result is referred to as strategic intent. So the final, why we want to do, why we want to do. Strategic intent is understood as a philosophical base of strategic management. Strategic intent could be in the form of vision and mission, which is formed at the corporate level. It is expressed in terms of business definition and business level, which is expressed at business level. So if you can see this diagram, we have our strategic intent right at the base. We have our strategic intent here. Just above that, we have our vision, which is given by corporate level. We have our mission, which is given by corporate level. Business definition, business model is given by business level. Goals and objectives is given at functional level. So let's try to understand each element. These are called as elements of strategic intent, right? So let's try to understand each one. What do you mean by vision? Vision implies the blueprint of the company's future position. It is a roadmap where we wish to reach after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It is a roadmap. It describes where the organization wants to land. It represents the organization's aspirations and provides a glance at what the organization would like to become in future. Everyone who is associated with the company, every subsystem, whether it is departments, whether it is different businesses or divisions, everyone will know the organization's vision. Why? So that they are motivated to perform well. So every subsystem of the organization is required to follow its vision. Everybody, all departments, all functional managers, all businesses right across must follow the vision. Mission. Mission describes the firm's, its goals and ways to reach the goal. It explains the reason for the existence in the society. It is designed to help the potential shareholders and investors understand the purpose of the company. This is important. It defines the present capabilities, activities, customer focus and role in the society. What we are doing currently, yes, no doubt we have a vision to be the most preferred company by 2040. But in order to achieve that vision, what we are doing at present? Next, business definition. It tries to explain the business undertaken by the firm. What business we are trying to do? Customer needs, target markets, alternative technologies. Depending on your business, you will have your organizational structure, hierarchy. So you were doing earlier 2 businesses. Now you want to do the 3rd business. You will have to change the structure of your organization. We will study more about this in chapter number 7. So organizational restructuring also depends upon the business definition. So if you had 2 businesses earlier, you had 2 divisions. Now you are starting off with a 3rd business, so you will have a 3rd division. So as the organization increases its business, they are redefining their business, they will have to change their structure also. Business model implies a strategy for the effective operation of the business, ascertaining the sources of income, the desired customer base, the financial details. Rival firms operating in the same industry may rely on the different business model due to their strategic choice. A company may go for a cost leadership approach, whereas the other company may go for differentiation approach. What do you mean by cost leadership? Selling a product which is having a standardized feature at a reasonable price. What do you mean by differentiation? Selling a unique product to a customer at a premium price. So if you observe mobile manufacturing business, we have iPhone and we have Oppo, we have Vivo, we have MI and we have other mobile phone companies. Apple is giving unique features to its customer. So that is why they are charging premium price. Whereas others, they are giving standardized product. They are charging reasonable price. So one is following cost leadership, the other is following differentiation. So rival companies may have different strategies. This is the last element of strategic intent, goals and objectives. These are the base of measurement. Goals are the end results that the organization attempts to achieve, end results. Objectives are time-based measurable targets. And these are time-based measurable targets help in accomplishment of goals. These are the end results which are attained with the help of overall plan over a particular period. Conclusion. This is something which I explained. Vision, mission, business definition, business model. Explain the philosophy of the organization. What is our thought process? So, vision, mission, goals, objectives, vision, mission, business model, business definition will explain the philosophy of the organization. What is the thought process of the organization? But goals and objectives will represent the results, what we were able to achieve. So, goals and objectives will represent the results that an organization will achieve. So, now we have completed one part, that is strategic intent. Now, we will try to understand what do you mean by vision in detail, what do you mean by mission, what are the goals and objectives. We will try to answer each one individually. So, as I told you, vision is something which the organization has a plan about the future. We have three questions here. A note on vision, what are the elements of vision and what are the essentials of vision. So, write a short note on vision. What are the elements of vision? What are the essentials of vision? What is vision? A strategic vision is a roadmap of a company's future, providing specifics about. Specific means details about the technology, customer focus, geographic and product markets to be pursued. So, what sort of company we wish to become in future? The capabilities it plans to develop and the kind of company that a management is trying to create. If you observe, vision implies blueprint of company's future position. A strategic vision shows management's aspiration for the business, providing a view of where we are going. It describes where the organization wants to land. Every subsystem of the organization is required to follow its vision. So, vision is about the future, what sort of company we wish to become in future. The three elements of strategic vision. So, if you want to have vision, you will have to come up with a mission statement, and that mission statement should clearly define who we are, where we are now. It's all good to think about the future, but you should know about your present also. Who we are, where we are now. It should clearly specify. Using this mission statement, we will decide our long-term course of choice, where we are going. We decided about our future, now we are thinking about the present. what sort of cars we will make. If we want to be the most preferred car manufacturing company by 2040, don't you think so I should know about my present capabilities? What is the present focus? So the first element was to draw up a good mission statement which tells us who we are, where we are now. And using this mission statement, we will have an idea, long-term idea as to what things we will do to achieve our vision. Third, communicating the strategic vision in clear, exciting terms that inspire the organization-wide commitment. So I will express this in clear terms so that everyone who's associated with the company knows about this vision. So that when it comes to performance, they are motivated, they are excited, they are inspired to perform well. So these are the elements of strategic vision. Again, institute can ask you, define strategic vision. What are the elements of strategic vision? Or they can ask you this, write a short note, what are the essentials of strategic vision? Define strategic vision. What are the essentials of strategic vision? So we have 4 essentials. Number 1, we need to think creatively. You need to think creatively. This is a box. You need to think outside the box. You need to think outside the box. So, the entrepreneurial challenge in developing a strategic vision is to think creatively about how to prepare a company for the future. What sort of company I want in future, 20 years from now. Forming a strategic vision requires intelligent entrepreneurship. You'll have to be thinking creatively. You'll have to think like an intelligent entrepreneur. So if you are forming a vision, you'll have to think creatively and you'll have to exercise something called as intelligent entrepreneurship. If you have done this, a well articulated vision will create enthusiasm, will create inspiration, it will give motivation to the workers so that they perform well. A well articulated vision will create enthusiasm among the members of the organization. The best worded vision statement clearly enhances the direction in which the organization is headed. So if you have a vision, we will have a proper direction, a roadmap, and we will know where we are headed. So these are the 4 essentials. First one, to think creatively about our future. Number 2, it is an exercise of intelligent entrepreneurship. Number 3, it creates enthusiasm. Number 4, it enhances the direction. So these were the questions that can be asked for vision. Now let's talk about the mission. As I discussed while discussing the elements of strategic intent, we have our philosophical base as intent, purpose. On the basis of why we frame our vision. On the basis of our vision, we will frame our mission. So what do you mean by mission? A mission statement is typically focused on its present business and answer to the basic question, who we are, what we do. Mission statement broadly describes organization's present capabilities, customer focus, activities and business makeup. So all these comes under mission statement. Now institute can ask you, what do you mean by mission? Why should an organization have a mission? Or what do you mean by mission? What are the points to be considered while writing mission statement? So let's tackle each one. Why an organization should have a mission? Why? If we have a mission, we have a common direction to think. all the departments will work collectively towards a common goal. So we will have unanimity of purpose within the organization. Second, we will develop a basis for allocating the organizational resources. So if we want to start a new division, a new business, in line with our vision, we decided to start with a new business. So for that business, we will require money, we will require material, we will require manpower, we will require technology. So mission helps us in allocating the organizational resource. So it will develop a basis or standard for allocating organizational resources. Third, it also provides a basis for motivating the use of organizational resources. Here, motivating the use, whether the resources are being efficiently, effectively, whatever we were supposed to use, how much resources we were supposed to use, did we use it properly? Basis for motivating the use of organizational resource. To establish a general tone or organizational climate, the work environment is healthy, people support each other, people help, organizational staff help each other. To serve as a focal point for those who can identify the organizational purpose and direction. So it helps us decide which products to make, whether should we use this technology or not. So it serves as a focal point, main point. To facilitate the translation of objectives and goals into work structure involving the assignment of task. So whatever goals we have, whatever objectives we have, our mission will help us in achieving those. It helps us. To specify the organizational purposes and the translation of these purposes into goals and objectives. So we will again think why we started with this business. What is our vision? What is our mission? So mission helps us specify what is our purpose. And with the help of this purpose, we will be able to frame our goals and policies. We will be able to decide our targets. So this was your why an organization should have a mission. Let's try to understand the points or tips to be considered while writing the mission statement. Number one, whenever you are framing the mission statement, try to focus on the point of what thing we are doing differently from our competitors. It should create a unique identity of ours in the eyes of the customer, in the eyes of the different stakeholders. One of the roles of mission statement is to give the organization its own special identity. So, it should give our organization its own special identity. What we are trying to satisfy, what needs we are trying to satisfy of the customer. It should also highlight that. What we are trying to do, what we do, who we are, what we do. So what needs of the customers we are trying to satisfy. Third, it should not be copied from someone else. It should be unique to your own organization. Just because you are one of the companies who's into car manufacturing company, do you think you should copy your mission of the competitor? No, your mission should be unique. It should be to your own self. Good mission statement should be unique to the organization. Last point, it should never be about making profits. Profit is a byproduct. Profits will happen, but you should never state this in your mission statement. The mission of a company should not be to make profits. Surpluses may be required for survival or growth, but it cannot be the mission of the company. So yeah, here we will have 3 questions. Number 1, write a short note on mission statement. You'll have to write everything. Define mission statement. What are the tips that you will consider while writing the mission statement? Why do organizations have mission? This is the third question. Okay. Next part, moving on. This is the last part for strategic intent discussion. As I told you, strategic intent and elements of strategic intent can individually be asked in your exams. Furthermore, if they want to ask about vision, they have 3 questions there. For mission also, we have 3 questions. Now let's try to understand the last element, goals and objectives. What do you mean by goals? Goals are the end result. We want to increase our revenue. We want to reduce our cost for this year. We want to increase the profits for this quarter. Goals are the end results that an organization attempts to achieve. Goals are open-ended attributes that denote the future states or outcome, whereas objectives are time-based measurable targets. Specific, they are specific. Meaning, we want to increase our profits by 5% in this quarter. Specific, time-based measurable targets which help in accomplishment of goals. Objectives are closed-ended attributes and are expressed in specific terms. Thus, objectives are more specific and translates the goals to both long-term and short-term perspective. Characteristics of objectives. Objectives should define the organization's relationship with its environment. We should frame objectives in such a way that it should reflect what is happening in the environment. So, if you are into car manufacturing business, we will analyze what is happening in the current environment, and depending on that, we will frame our objectives, we will frame our goals. It should be facilitative towards organization's mission and purpose. It should help us, objectives should help us achieve our organizational mission. So, it should be facilitative. Objectives should be measurable and controllable. You should be able to find out how much revenues you were able to make in this quarter. You should be able to compare your performance with the last quarter. It should be measurable. It should provide the basis for decision making. As an organization, looking at the numbers, looking at the performances, we can decide whether we should continue with this product, we should expand, we should discontinue, what should we do? So, objectives should help us in deciding whether we should continue with this product or we should let go of this product. Objectives should provide standards for performance appraisal. On the basis of the targets, on the basis of the objectives that is given by the managers, if the employee is able to perform well, we should be able to give them incentive bonus. We can evaluate the performance. Performance appraisal means performance evaluation. So, on the basis of objectives, suppose if the worker was given a task to complete production activity within a month, let's say 10,000 units he was supposed to make. He made 12,000 units. So, he exceeded our expectations. So, we should reward that person. So, objectives provides a basis or a standard for performance appraisal. It should be concrete and specific. Your objectives should be specific, time-based, measurable, concrete. We want to increase our revenue by 10% as compared to the last quarter. So, we are very specific. Time bound. Objective should be relating to one particular time frame, this month, this quarter, this year. It should be very time bound. It should be challenging. If the objective can be achieved easily, I will not be motivated, right? So it should be challenging. I should look up to fulfilling those objectives. It should be challenging. It should correlate with each other. All the departmental objectives should correlate with each other. If the sales department's objective is to increase the sales, production department also should plan on increasing the production activity. We would require more quantity of raw material, so purchases will also increase. So all the objectives should correlate with each other. Objectives should be set within the constraints of the organizational resources and external environment. Whenever you are framing any objective, you should think about the environment and you should also think about the organizational resources that you have. You will look at your internal resources, organizational resources and capabilities, and you will look at the environment, and thereafter you will set your objectives. We have two types of objectives, long-term objectives and short-term objectives. Any objective which is for a period of 2 years or above, 2 to 5 years, is called as long-term objectives. Objectives below that, within a year, 6 months, short-term objectives. So, long-term objectives represents the results expected from pursuing certain strategies. Strategies will represent the action to be taken to accomplish the long-term objectives. The time frame for objectives and strategies should be consistent, and usually it should be 2 to 5 years. So there are 7 areas. So these are the 7 areas: profitability, productivity, competitive position. So I want to achieve these objectives within a time span of 2 to 5 years. So these are long-term objectives. What do you mean by short-term objectives? They are short-range objectives below 2 years or less. I want to achieve these objectives within 2 years or less. So this takes care of our fourth part, guys. We completed strategic intent. What are the elements of strategic intent? We completed with our vision. What are the essentials? What are the elements of vision? Thereafter we did mission. Why should an organization have mission? What are the tips that you should consider before writing a mission statement or while writing a mission statement? Then we studied goals and objectives. What are the characteristics of objectives? What are the different types of objectives? Let's move further. Strategic management model. Again, a very simple question, important question to understand. Whenever I say important, it means from understanding point of view. So what do you mean by strategic management model? If an organization wishes to implement strategic management, so they should have a framework, right? What are the things that we should do first? What is the second thing that we should do? So what are the steps? What are the stages? So there are 5 stages. There are 5 stages for doing strategic management. So if an organization wishes to use strategic management tool, so what are the stages? Number 1, they will identify, they will develop their vision, mission, goals and objectives. So either they'll identify or they'll develop their own vision, mission, goals and objectives. Once they have developed their own vision, mission, goals and objectives, then they'll do analysis. There are 2 kinds of analysis: internal organizational analysis, external environmental analysis. While analyzing the internal factors, we will come to know about our strength, weakness. While analyzing the environment, we will come to know about the opportunities and threats. So the first step was to develop the vision, mission, goals and objectives. Thereafter we did analysis, internal as well as external. Post which we will formulate the strategies, generate, analyze, select the strategies. These three will form part of formulation stage. Collectively, these three stages are called as formulation stage. Once you have formulated the strategy, the task is to implement the strategy, and this is the most time consuming and the challenging phase in any strategic management model. Implementation. Once you have implemented, this is the second phase. Implementation is the second phase. The first phase was formulation, then implementation. Thereafter, once you have implemented the strategy, you will evaluate the strategy. You will try to find out whether whatever we had planned, were we able to execute. If we were able to execute, very good, keep up the good work. But what if we were not able to execute in a good way? We should correct those things. We should correct those mistakes. So this phase is called as the last phase, that is evaluation. So strategic management will consist of three phases: formulation phase, implementation phase, evaluation phase. Institute can ask you, they may ask you, what are the different stages of strategic management model? So we have 5 stages. Number 1, developing vision, mission, goals and objectives. Number 2, analysis, internal as well as external. Number 3, generate, analyze, select strategies. Number 4, implementation of strategy. Number 5, evaluation and control of strategy. Right? Now few questions I need you to answer. Is strategic management a one-time process? No. It is a continuous process. Why? Because the environment is dynamic. It goes on changing. So if any one of the factor changes, it will lead to changes in our strategic management model. And in any one of the factor changes, if any one of the factor changes, it will lead to change in other things also. So we need to be on our toes. We need to be updated. What is happening in the environment? Because of this change in the environment, has our mission changed? Has our strength become our weakness? Is there any opportunity in the environment? So if there is an opportunity, we have our strength. Can we frame such strategies which we will be able to take advantage of this? Thereafter we will implement. So if any one of the factor changes, the entire model undergoes a change. So you need to be on your toes. You need to be updated. You should regularly check. So all this comes under strategic management model. So let's try to understand this. Identifying an organization's vision, mission, goals and objectives is the starting point for strategic management process. So before you do strategic management, you should know what is your vision, what do you have in mind about your future, where do you see yourself in future. Depending on that, what you are doing currently, what is your mission, goals, objectives. You need to be very clear about all this. The strategic management process is a dynamic and a continuous one. A change in any one of the components in the model can necessitate a change in any or all other components, as I told you. If one factor changes, other factors will also change. Therefore, formulation, implementation and evaluation should be done on a which basis? Continual basis, and not just at the end of the year. So you need to be on your toes. Continuously you need to analyze the environment. The strategic management process can be best studied and applied using a model. Every model represents some kind of process, and strategic management model is widely accepted and comprehensive. It is given by Fred R. David. This does not guarantee the sure shot success. Nobody has any guarantee, right? Nobody can give you guarantee. but it does represent a clear and practical approach for formulating, implementing and evaluating the strategies. So these are the 5 stages I was talking about. This is the first stage, developing the vision, mission, goals and objectives. Number 2, environmental analysis and organizational analysis. Number 3, generate, analyze, select strategy. This falls under formulation. Then implement the strategy, and then strategic evaluation and control. So if you observe, this is implementation, this is evaluation. So we have 3 phases: formulation, implementation, evaluation. Strategists do not go through the process in lockstep fashion. Generally, there is give and take among the levels of the organization. So we will take suggestions, we will take feedbacks. Corporate level managers will take feedback and suggestions. They will discuss with the business level managers. Business level managers will also give their suggestions to the top level management. So there is a give and take, exchange of information. Exchange of information between the different levels of management. So this is called as give and take. We will give you some information. I want your feedback on this. So they will come up with some feedback. We will discuss this with them. They will come up with some solution. Give and take. Many organizations will conduct the formal meetings semi-annually to discuss about the firm's vision, mission, opportunity, threat, strength and weakness, policies and performance. So organizations generally, they meet, they discuss their policies, they discuss their performance, they will discuss what is happening in the environment, whether there will be an opportunity, whether there will be a threat, what is our strength, what is our weakness. We will discuss all this when we meet. Stages in strategic management. Number 1, developing a strategic vision, formulation and statement of mission, goals and objective. So this is your first step. What sort of company you wish to become in future, for that what you are doing currently, what is your goal, what is your target, everything is the first step. Thereafter, environmental and organizational analysis. We will do environmental scanning. With the help of this environmental scanning, what we will come to know? We will come to know about our opportunities and threats. Then we will do organizational analysis. This organizational analysis will help us understand what is our strength and what is our weakness. Once we have done this, then we will formulate the strategy. And we have 4 strategies that a corporate level management formulates. We have stability strategy, we have expansion strategy, we have retrenchment strategy, we have combination strategy. So with the help of the vision, mission, goals and objectives, on the basis of the analysis that we did in step number 2, we will either go for stability strategy, we can also go for expansion, we can also go for retrenchment, or we can use combination. Right? 4th step, implementation. Implementation of strategy. Implementation and execution are operations oriented activity aimed at shaping the performance of core business. Up to step number 3, we were formulating the strategy. But now the time has come to put the plan into action. We need to work towards whatever we had formulated. And this phase is the most challenging, is the most time consuming phase in any strategic management process, the implementation phase. This is the time consuming, most demanding and time consuming part of strategic management process. Then we have strategic evaluation and control, the last step. The final step of strategic management process is evaluating the company's progress and assessing the impact of new external developments and making corrective adjustments. If everything is going well, good, keep up the good work. But if something goes wrong, you should initiate corrective adjustments. Take necessary steps to correct your mistakes. Again, this is a question that can be asked in your exams. This is relating to implementation. What points you need to consider at the time of implementing your strategy? So, the question goes like this. What are the principal aspects? What are the principal aspects of strategy execution process? So, if you want to execute your strategy, what are the points that you should be taking care of, you should be aware of, so that your implementation goes through smoothly without any problems? So, what are the points that you will take into consideration? So, this is the question. What are the principal aspects of strategy execution process? The first thing that we should take care of is preparing a good budget. If we have the right budget, our workers, our functional level managers will be able to deliver whatever we are expecting them to deliver. I'll give you an example. We will ask our sales team, sales manager, to give us a number of units that they are planning to sell. On the basis of the number of units they are planning to sell, we will ask our production team to produce that quantity. Once we know how much production is to be done, we will ask our purchase team to purchase the required raw materials. We will ask the finance team to provide the necessary resources, money to the suppliers. So, this budgeting will help us plan our production schedule. Nobody will be able to give an excuse. We don't have raw material in the factory. We don't have the products to be sold in the market. Nobody will be able to give you excuse. So, if you have budgets, everything will go smoothly. So, this is your first step. You should develop good budgets. Number 2, staffing the organization. You should hire workers. While preparing the budget, the factory manager told the HR manager that we will be requiring few skilled workers, few unskilled, few semi-skilled workers. So, HR manager will staff the organization. Why? Because if we don't have the workers, don't you think so we will not be able to produce goods on timely basis, which will hamper our delivery? So, we need to staff the organization with the right set of workers, skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled. After that, we have to develop standard operating procedures and policies for the employees. Every employee, every department should be given standard operating procedures, policies. This is the way the task should be performed. It should be given in writing, whether we will give discount to the customers, we will not give discount to the customers, whether credit is given, not given, what is the way of producing the goods, how we will produce the goods, everything is written. That is called as standard operating procedures. Policies is discussed with the employees. So, if they know the policy of the organization, will they give discount? Will they be lethargic? No. So, first I developed the budget, then I recruited the required staff. Third, I am developing policies or standard operating procedures. Fourth, I will use the best known practices to carry out my business activities. I will try to learn from my peers, my competitors, how they are doing this activity in an efficient way. How can I use those activities in my organization? So, I will compare my performance with those of other players in the industry, and I'll try to learn from them, and I'll use the best industry practices, best known practices. After doing that, I will install good operating system, good IT systems in my factory, in my offices, so that I get up-to-date information about what is happening in my factory, what is happening in my office. I will motivate people to perform their task well. Implementation is a very time-consuming process. Employees may get demotivated, so you need to keep them motivated at all levels, at all times. You'll have to create a good working environment, a good work culture, a good work climate in order to get the best out of your employees. You need to have an internal leadership wherein the employees are promoted to the higher levels. The supervisors are promoted to become a team leader. Team leader is made the manager. So you should give them internal promotions so that they are motivated enough to perform well. Even they have chance of climbing up the corporate ladder. So you should make sure that you have internal leadership. Everyone is responsible for the task that they do. And last but not the least, if anything goes wrong, if there is any problem in execution, we should always take the help of the management so that they can resolve the problem quickly. They can get the solution of the problem quickly. So this is your principal aspects of strategy execution process. A simple question, but you need to be very careful. Institute has this tendency of asking this question, right? So be careful here. The first point, developing the budget, as I told you all. Staffing the organization. Policies and standard operating procedures that will facilitate rather than restrain, that will help us perform well. Whether we should give discount, no discount, credit, no credit, how the machines are to be used. Use best known practices. Install information and operating systems. Motivate the employees. Create a good work culture and climate. Exert internal leadership. When the organization encounters any barriers or weakness, if there is any problem in strategy execution, management help should be taken in order to rectify those quickly. One distinguish between I would like to discuss with you all, that is the distinguish between vision and mission. What is vision? Company's blueprint for future. Company's aspiration for future. This is company's objectives that it approach to reach those objectives. Vision statement talks about the future, it talks about the present which will help reach future. Where we want to be, where we are at present. It answers the question, where do we aim to be? It answers the question, what do we do, what makes us different? Vision is long term, mission is short term. Vision is to inspire, vision is to inform. Vision is to inspire, mission is to inform. And I have given one example here. The vision of Disney is to make people happy. The mission of Walt Disney is to entertain, inform and inspire people. So just to sum it up, what we have studied strategic intent, the elements of strategic intent. Then we discussed vision, mission and goals and objectives in detail. We studied in elements also, but we also studied these in detail. Thereafter we did strategic management model. And in strategic management model, we discussed that diagram, 3 phases, 5 stages. We also discussed one question. What was that question? What are the principal aspects in strategy execution process, right? So now let's try to understand the next question, that is strategic decision making. What is strategic decision making? This is our next part, that is strategic decision making. Now, before we understand strategic decision making, let's try to understand what do you mean by decision making. So, an organization has to decide on many things, which products to make, which markets to serve, what technology to use. But in that also we have multiple options. So, if a company is into a business of manufacturing cars, what sort of cars we will make? Whether we should go for electric vehicles, whether we should continue making petrol cars, diesel cars, CNG cars, or we should think about expanding our business, extending our line, and we should also think about going for electric vehicles. So what do you mean by decision making? Decision making is a managerial process. Before we understand what is strategic decision making, let's try to understand what is decision making. So out of many alternatives that I have, I select the best for the present times. That is called as decision making. I have 4 or 5 alternatives. I have evaluated each one, and now I am selecting one particular strategy. So this is decision making. Decision making is a managerial process of selecting the best course of action out of the several alternatives available to me. And why am I selecting the best one? Because I want to achieve my organizational goals. So, there can be 2 types of decision making. One, strategic decision making. The other, operational decision making. Operational decision making refers to day-to-day decision making. Those are the decisions that are generally taken by functional management. How much to produce, from where to buy the raw materials, how to sell, what price to sell. Those are the decisions taken at functional level managers. What do you mean by strategic decision making? The definition is given by Gluck and Josh. Strategic decision making defines our business. Strategic decision making will define our business. What sort of products we will make, what markets we will serve, what functions we are going to perform, what processes we are going to follow, what policies we will be making. Those are called as strategic decision making. So let's try to understand strategic decision making. So as you can see, decision making is a managerial process of selecting the best course of action out of several alternative courses. So we have many options, we will choose the best one for the purpose of accomplishment of organizational goals. So there may be a strategic decision making, there may be operational decision making. What do you mean by operational? Which relates to day-to-day operations. According to Josh and Gluck, strategic decisions will encompass the definition of business, the products to be handled, the markets to be served, the functions to be performed. So this is called as strategic decision making. Basically, it will define our business. What products we will make, what markets we will serve, what technology we will use, what processes we will follow, Why are we doing this? Again, to achieve the strategic objective. The major dimensions of strategic decisions. We can also call this as characteristics of strategic decisions. So strategic decisions will have some characteristics, will have some features, will have some dimensions. So what are the dimensions of those strategic decisions? Number one, strategic decisions are taken by whom? Top management. Number two, if we want to start with a new division, we were already into car manufacturing business, we were already into making cars of petrol variant, diesel variant, CNG variant. Now we want to start electric vehicle segment. Don't you think so? This decision will be taken by the top management? Yes. Don't you think so? This will require commitment of organizational resource? Yes. We'll have to create one more division for electric vehicles. We'll have to hire people. We'll have to allocate money. We'll have to get a good R&D team, research and development team. So this requires commitment of organizational resource. We'll have to think about the events that are happening in external environment. Petrol prices increasing. Government is giving incentive. Customers want electric vehicles. Even competitors have started making electric vehicles. So don't you think so? All these factors which is happening in the environment, this will also help the management take this strategic decision. Yes. Fourth point, this will have a long-term impact on our business. This will have a long-term impact. If this electric vehicle, we are able to manufacture good quality electric vehicles at affordable prices, we are able to build good infrastructure around this. We have good number of charging stations at different locations. We are able to give good quality products at affordable prices, reasonable prices. Don't you think so? This will have a long-term impact on the prosperity of the business. Yes. So these are the few characteristics or dimensions of strategic decisions. This will also have multifunctional and multi-business consequences. What do you mean by multifunctional or multi-business consequences? If we decide to enter into electric vehicles, we will have to allocate more resources to this business. So somehow the other businesses will not get enough money because our entire focus, our entire concentration will be on this new business. So this can have an impact on other businesses or other functions, other departments. So this is the meaning of multifunctional or multi-business consequences. Strategic decision is always taken keeping in mind about the future. It is futuristic, future oriented. So let's try to read this. Strategic decisions will require top management involvement, right? It will involve commitment of organizational resources. Strategic decisions necessitate consideration of factors in the firm's external environment. Strategic decisions are likely to have a significant impact on the long-term prosperity of the firm. It is future-oriented. Usually have multifunctional or multi-business consequences. So this was your strategic decision making. Now let's study the last part of this chapter, that is planning and different types of planning and what are the functions of planning. Let's quickly recap whatever we have studied in this chapter. We started this chapter, the revision of this chapter, by understanding what do you mean by strategic intent, what are the elements of strategic intent. Then we studied mission, definition of mission, elements of vision, essentials of vision. Then we studied mission. Why do organizations have mission? What are the tips or points to be considered while writing mission statement? Goals and objectives. What are the characteristics of goals and objectives? What are the different types of objectives, long term, short term? Then we discussed the strategic management model. What are the stages? And one important question, what are the principal aspects in strategy execution process? We discussed decision making, types of decision making, strategic, operational. What are the dimensions of strategic decision making? Now, the last part, planning. What do you understand by planning? Planning in simple terms means deciding in advance what is to be done, how it is to be done, who will do it. All this comes under planning. So, planning in strategic management means deciding what needs to be done in the future and generating the blueprints for action. What steps I should take in order to achieve organizational objectives. So, it involves determination of the course of action to attain the objectives of the organization. So, if we want to be the market leader, if we want to develop certain market position, don't you think so? This will require planning. Yes, this will require planning. So, it bridges the gap of where we are and where we want to go. So, we want to reach here and we are here. So, how will we bridge the gap? With the help of planning. Planning is future oriented. So, just like decision making, we had two types. Here also in planning, we will have two types. Which are those two types? Strategic planning and operational planning. So, what is operational planning? Planning which is performed by middle level and lower level management and which relates to day-to-day basis, day-to-day plans. All the plans which are made on daily basis, regular basis, frequent basis is called as operational planning. But planning which is done by the senior management by analyzing the internal and external environment is called as strategic planning. So, let us try to understand this in detail. Planning. Planning is deciding what needs to be done in the future and generating the blueprints for the action. Planning involves determination of the course of action to attain the objectives. So, with the help of planning, we will be able to achieve our objectives. So, deciding in advance what needs to be done in future, which will help us achieve our objectives. It bridges the gap between where we are, where we want to go. It is future oriented. Types. Made by senior management for the entire organization after looking at strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Process of determining the objectives of the firm, the resources required to attain these objectives, the formulation of policies to govern the acquisition, the use of the resources. So again, let's take an example in understanding what is strategic planning. We are already into car manufacturing business. We have petrol variant cars, we have diesel variant cars, we have CNG variant cars. Now, one of the competitors has entered into Indian market and they are planning to make electric vehicles. Moreover, petrol prices are increasing. Government has announced that they will give incentives if you manufacture electric cars. Customers also suggest that we will also be inclined to buy electric vehicles if we have proper infrastructure. So all these environmental factors is indicating towards one thing, that I should also start manufacturing electric vehicles. So now the management, the senior management has decided to enter into electric vehicles also. So we'll start with the R&D, research and development of developing the machine, designing the vehicle. We will first allocate some money to the R&D team, R&D department, so that they can come up with a design of the car. They can come up with the engine. On the other hand, my other team will take care of the infrastructure. Where all can we have the charging stations? What sort of infrastructure will be required for those activities? So now what we are trying to do? It is the process of determining the objective of the firm. The objective is very clear: to remain competitive, to achieve market share, to be having a good market position, right? So this is the objective of the firm. So for that objective, what sort of resources will be required? What sort of policies I need to formulate? How will we acquire the resources? How will we utilize those resources? All this comes under planning. In other words, they involve acquisition and allocation of resources for the attainment of organizational objectives. So this was strategic planning. Now let's talk about operational planning, made at the middle and the lower management. They specify the details of how the resources are to be utilized. Top management will arrange for the resources. They will formulate the policies. But who is going to use the resources? The lower level management, the employees, for the attainment of objectives. They will be utilizing the resources efficiently and effectively. Conversion of virtual goals into actual are the responsibility of the operational level managers. Whatever we have thought of as a corporate level management, whatever our goals, who is responsible to fulfill all those goals? Functional level managers, operational level managers. Operational level managers should be efficient enough to understand the overall vision of the organization and work accordingly to fulfill it within the allocated time. So they should try to achieve all their targets within a specified time frame. What are the functions of planning? What are the tasks of planning? We have two tasks. We have two functions. Number one, dealing with uncertainty and the impact of uncertainty. Now, what do you mean by uncertainty? Tell me the environment in which the business operates. Is it constant or it goes on changing? It goes on changing. So, whenever an environmental factor changes, don't you think so an organization should have some backup plan as regards to that change? Yes. If we don't have any backup plan for that change, our organization will not be able to achieve the organizational objectives. So up to last year, everything was going good. Suddenly, pandemic happened. Organization had to change. People were working from offices. Now they had to work from home. Don't you think so? This required some changes. Yes. Similarly, Tesla Motors entering into Indian market. Tesla Motors entering into Indian market. The entire scenario of automobile sector is changing. So these are uncertain times. You don't know what will happen next. So as an organization, I should be planning accordingly so that I am prepared to face the uncertain times. So this is dealing with uncertainty. Uncertainty in business is developed because of continuous changes in the environment. These changes will force the business organization to change the strategy. We were not supposed to enter into electric vehicles, but because of the changes happening in the environment, petrol prices increasing, government giving incentives, foreign players entering into Indian market making electric vehicles, customers also wanting this. So changes is happening in the environment. I need to react. These changes force the organization to change their strategies and to create a fit. Fit means match between the newly happened changed, between whatever is happening in the environment and our plans. We need to have a balance. We should match. And it's planned to achieve the same objectives. Strategic uncertainty, which has far reaching impact, is a key construct in formulation. So if one particular environmental factor is having uncertainty, so it will have an impact on our entire strategy. So we try to come up with alternatives. What if this happens? What will happen if this happens? All the if analysis will happen. If this happens, what will be the outcome? A typical external analysis will emerge with dozens of strategic uncertainties. If you are aware of this, external analysis means pestle analysis. We all studied this in BCK, CA Foundation. External analysis, we are trying to understand the environmental analysis. Don't you think so? Each factor will have lots of uncertainties, environmental factors, legal environment, technological uncertainty. So each factor will have dozens of uncertainties. So as top level management, our job is to group them into clusters. These are the uncertainties which we can deal in this way. These are the uncertainties we can deal in this way. So we'll have to group them. We'll have to make a cluster so that we can discuss and decide what is to be done for this uncertainty. So to be manageable, they need to be grouped into logical clusters. It is then useful to assess the importance of each cluster in order to set the priorities with respect to information gathering and analysis. So we'll try to collect more information on those uncertainties. We are trying to have a backup plan. What if it doesn't work? In this case, scenario analysis can be employed. So we will use of scenario analysis. What do you mean by scenario analysis? We'll try to analyze a situation. What if electric vehicles comes into Indian market? If it doesn't come in the Indian market, what if we have proper infrastructure built around electric vehicles? What if we don't have enough infrastructure facilities? What will be the price range? Will it be expensive or will it be affordable? So these are the scenario analysis. Scenario analysis basically accepts the uncertainties as given and uses it to drive a description of two or more future scenarios. Strategies are developed for each. One outcome could be decisions to create organizational and strategic flexibility so that the business context changes, the strategy will adapt. So we need to be flexible, we need to be on our toes. If one of the factor changes, we should be ready to change that strategy, we should be ready to change the plan. The next one, impact with certainty. The first was dealing with uncertainty. This is impact of uncertainty. Whether it will have a positive impact, whether it will have a negative impact. It can happen both ways. Each element in strategic uncertainty will involve a trend or event that could have an impact. impact on my present business, proposed business or potential businesses. It can have impact on your present, proposed or future businesses. These are the examples. A trend towards natural foods may present opportunities for the firms producing, manufacturing juices, natural juices, because people are now health conscious. So they want to drink juice instead of aerated water. Instead of aerated water, they want to shift to coconut water. So that is good on the basis of strategic uncertainty. The impact of strategic uncertainty will depend on the importance of impacted SBU to a firm. Some SBUs are more important than the others. The importance of established SBU may be indicated by their associated sales, profit or cost. If you are into multiple businesses, if you are doing multiple products, if you are dealing in multiple products, few products or few SBUs will be important as compared to others. So you'll have to see the impact on the same, whether it is having a positive impact or whether it is having a negative impact. So this takes care of our entire chapter number 3, guys. I hope you have understood this. Try watching this lecture repeatedly so that you understand this, you try to memorize this. In the next class, we will start with chapter number 2. With this, I hope you have understood this. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.